Sawadee ka!
We have arrived in Bangkok. I'm Nessie.
I'm Becca. That's all we have.
So we thought we'd make this video to help inform other people that might be travelling to Thailand during COVID times. Since we booked our trip 2 months ago in November, everything's changed again, but this was our experience and hopefully it can help anybody else who's about to travel to Thailand.
So we applied to enter Thailand through the Test&Go system, which is now suspended. It basically means that you arrive in Thailand or wherever you're going, Bangkok for us, and you get transferred to a SHA hotel where you quarantine for 1 night. You do your PCR test there, and until you get your result back, you've got to basically stay in your room.
So back in November, the first thing we did was we looked at flights, picked our days that we wanted to go. We then looked at insurance. Luckily for us, we booked with Emirates and they were doing a special deal at the time. You had to book before the 1st of December and you got a special multi-cover insurance, travel insurance with them. So for Becca, that was absolutely fine. For me, I have asthma, so I needed better insurance than that. And with Test&Go, you need a certain amount of medical insurance to be able to apply for the Thai Pass, which was 50,000 USD.
Yeah.
$50,000.
It's medical coverage.
So I went with South Downs Insurance, which is partnered with AXA, which everybody recommends for going to Thailand with. And it covered everything that I needed, while also covering my asthma as well. And funny thing is, which is I don't know if it's a tip, but when I was looking at all the compare websites for travel insurance, when I put my dates in from flight to return flight, I was quoted something like £260 for the time we were away. And then I realised that I should probably do a few extra days because of us travelling down to Glasgow and then travelling home again after the flights. The price went from like £260 down to £170 just from adding on a few extra days to my insurance, which is crazy.
Yeah, we didn't realise that was the thing.
And I checked on all the different compare websites and it was the same thing. So I actually ended up getting even better travel insurance and I got a platinum, very exciting, because of it, and at a cheaper price. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely check. Add some days on. You never know. That was a bargain.
Yeah, I mean, I should have put in those dates anyway, but definitely worth checking. So after we booked our insurance, we then booked our flights. That was all okay, nice and easy. We then went and looked for our hotel for the first night.
Yeah, you had to book a quarantine hotel for the Test&Go, which has to be SHA certified. So we booked our SHA hotel, which include airport transfer, 3 meals and a PCR test, as well as an antigen test kit that you take away with you and do on day 5. So next we applied for our Thai Pass. You needed all of the information to even apply, so your insurance, your flights and your hotel, your quarantine hotel.
And there are a lot of confusing questions, but you just have to work your way through it, and there's loads of Facebook groups that can help you with answering the questions. We'll list below the one that we found really helpful.
It takes up to 7 days for the Thailand Pass to be reviewed and accepted or not accepted. For us, we were both accepted within the 7 days.
It was pretty quick for us.
Yeah, it was really quick. They can, I think, be accepted within 24 hours, but that didn't happen for us.
And another thing to check is that once you do get it through and it's been approved, check that all of your information is correct and that they haven't sent through a spelling mistake with your certificate, because that can put you back once you arrive in Thailand. So just check everything's all okay. So then finally we applied for our Thai tourist visa, and I believe we applied for 30 days with an extension of another 30 days, And we are planning on extending that again to 90 days. So another 30 days. But you can only do that once you're in the country. So we need to go and do that at some point. But we've been told that you can do that anytime once you're actually in Thailand. So that's one of our next plans to do.
Yeah, definitely. We have to go to a tourist immigration office to extend it. And apparently they're really helpful. Yeah, I'm sure we'll share our experience of it once we do it.
So yeah, once you have got all of those things accepted, there's not much else to do but pack.
Or panic.
Pack or panic.
Right now, during pandemic, everything's changing. I think between November, December and January I had about 5 meltdowns a day because everything was changing between Thailand. We were scared even the UK would put in restrictions because Omicron. It was stressful, but definitely worth it.
But again, if you join any of these Facebook groups, they will keep you up to date with everything happening because there's a lot of people who are already in Thailand who can keep you updated and also translate what the Thai government is saying, which is such a great help.
So we were due to fly on the 9th of January, which was a Sunday, from Glasgow. So there was one last thing we had to do before flying to Thailand, and that was book a pre-departure RT-PCR test in the UK. So all the way up until 3 days before we were due to fly to Thailand, the guidelines were to take a pre-departure RT-PCR test 72 hours before our flight. However,
3 days before we were due to fly, we got a text from Emirates saying that if we were transiting through Dubai, which obviously we would be with Emirates, you had to get your PCR test done at a pre-approved facility 48 hours before, which meant that our test that we already paid for and booked and had arrived with us could not be done. First of all, we wouldn't get them to be tested in time, and second of all, they were at-home tests, so we had to go to an actual drive-through testing place to get our test done within the 48 hours.
We live in the Highlands, there's nothing around. The closest place we could go to was Glasgow, so we had to book a train ticket immediately and get to Glasgow the next day in time for our PCR test 48 hours before our flight. So yeah, that was really stressful, and it was another £160 between us.
On top of the test we'd already booked,
Yeah.
which was
Like
96 pounds.
Yeah.
And we'd lost our train tickets that we had booked because we had to book a train ticket sooner than what we had already planned.
Yeah, so bear in mind to check the country you're transiting through and check their updates too, because we actually didn't realise until we got the text.
Yeah, just keep up to date with everything to do with your airlines, visas.
Just to add to that, this is all for vaccinated people. So we're unsure of the guidelines for unvaccinated people, but I believe you have to do 10 days quarantine.
Rather than the 7 days that it is right now.
Yeah, so double check that if you're unvaccinated. We're not too sure, but this is all for vaccinated people. So in the weeks prior to us flying to Thailand, there was a lot of rumours coming from Thai media that the government were going to put in a deadline for those travelling in the Test&Go system for the 10th of January, and we were literally arriving on the 10th, so we really didn't think we were going to get in all the way up until the day before our flight.
They then said it was going to be the 15th of January. It came to the 15th and they still haven't done anything.
Yeah, so I think those were just rumours. I think everybody who applied to get into the Test&Go system before it was suspended are allowed to arrive in Thailand.
At the moment with COVID, you just have to be ready to adapt to any change that comes your way with travelling.
Yeah.
Just one of those things.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, I was really stressed all the way up.
She was very stressed.
It was. I had to stress though, because you weren't. So yeah, day before our flight, we got our negative pre-departure PCR test results, which is great. And that's when I finally knew we were going to go. Up until then, I was like, nah, it's not happening.
And this one panicked. As soon as she had her pre-departure PCR test, she was convinced that she had COVID.
I conveniently thought I had a sore throat straight after I got the test done.
She panicked.
I did. I remember I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, Nessie, I think I'm ill. I think I've got COVID.
But we got the negative all through, and we got our fit to fly certificate. So another tip before you arrive at the airport is have everything printed, and a couple of copies of each document as well, just in case the airport were to not hand it back or you lost them or anything like that. Just make sure you have all the relevant documents, especially because if you try and print them at the airport, you'll be charged quite a bit.
Yeah. we had to print our fit to fly certificates at the airport because we didn't have a printer on the way to the airport, which costs like, what, £10?
Just to try and print one sheet, it was a bit impossible. So make sure you have everything printed, and you'll make it much easier in airports. And arriving in Thailand, they prefer a printout copy rather than looking on your phone.
Must say it was quite stressful leading up to leaving the UK, but it was such a smooth process, wasn't it?
So once we were at the airport and we had printed our fit to fly certificate, we then went to check in. Now we did check in the night before just on the app.
But you have to, because you need to show your documents. So.
Yeah, and put your bag through. So we went to the counter and they asked us for our fit to fly certificate, our
proof of vaccination,
our Thai pass, and our passport.
Yeah, I just gave them all my documents at once and let them choose what they needed. It was just, I don't know, it just went
smoother. And they gave everything back, so that's good. We then went through security, that was all fine. And then you catch the flight, all good. We had a great trip, it was a bit bumpy.
It was fine. It was a really full flight from the UK to Dubai.
Yeah.
Glasgow to Dubai was a really full flight. Arriving in Dubai
was a bit stressful.
Yeah, security was a bit weird. I've never experienced it, but maybe it was just a fluke. But they crammed us all together, pushing us through. People would forget to take off their jewellery or whatever and ended up having to come back through, and they put other people's valuables in other people's trays, and it was all a bit weird. But
yeah, and they didn't ask me to take out my laptop, iPad, liquids, nothing. It was just literally everything was shoved through, and
it was a bit of a rush. It was a bit uncomfortable for the time. We're just grateful to travel, to be honest.
But once that was over, it was fine, and you had to then at your gate show again all your documents of your Thai pass and everything, and your fit to fly certificate. And then we caught the plane and we arrived in Bangkok.
It was an empty plane.
It was.
Yeah, Dubai to Bangkok was empty.
Nice and chill.
Yeah.
And there was no bumps.
Yeah, it was nice and smooth.
Very smooth. But yeah, there was rows and rows empty. We were able to stretch out a bit, which was nice. While on the flight, we were given our immigration form to fill out, which we finished before we arrived. Then once you're off the plane, they hand you this piece of paper to fill out.
It's your pink slip.
It's your pink slip, but it was a white slip, which was the same as the pink slip. We went and filled that out and took ages doing that. And then we were last in the queue, of which you arrive and there's all these chairs sitting out, and you sit down on this chair and they come around with the pink slip, which is the exact same as the white slip, but they then get you to fill it out again. The white slip gets thrown away.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Very strange. And you took so long filling yours out that he took it off you and filled it out for you.
Yeah, I was tired.
And we were the last in the queue. So once you got that done, you then get up out of these chairs. You then walk to the Thai pass counter. They check your Thai pass, make sure it's all okay. Then you go through to immigration.
They check all your documents again.
Yeah.
And they take your fingerprints.
Take your fingerprints, take a photo of you. And they also asked me, they didn't ask you, but they asked where our next hotel was after our quarantine hotel, to check that we had somewhere to go afterwards.
Oh, really?
They didn't check that on you, but they checked that on me. So I showed them all the documentation of the hotel, which we
had just booked it in Glasgow Airport.
Yeah, so that was lucky. So after that, we then got our bags. We very quickly went and bought a Thai SIM card so that we could have data just in case anything was to happen.
Yeah, if we tested positive in our one-night quarantine, we'd have been shipped off to community isolation or hospital. And if I tested positive and you tested negative, or the other way around, we'd be like totally split up. So we wanted a SIM card because we wanted to be able to phone whoever, keep in contact with each other, phone the Thai embassy or whatever if we needed.
Phone Granny. Granny, come get me.
That's Nessie's mum.
COVID prison. Save
So yeah, we made sure to get a SIM card in the airport straight away with unlimited data and all sorts, so that we had contact with the outside world if we were taken.
So next you go through the doors to the arrival, and we were greeted, luckily because we were the last ones, there was no queue or anything, and there was just this line of people with boards held up with their hotels on them, and we were scanning them all, struggling to find our hotel, and luckily someone came over and said, which hotel are you going to? We told them the name and he pointed us to the right person. We were taken straight to the minibus, our bags put on, and we were on our way, straight away. There was no waiting, it was just straight through.
Yeah, straight through. It was our hotel transfer, straight to the hotel, dropped us off. He was very lovely.
So yeah, once we arrived at our hotel, we were greeted by a guy in a whole
Hazmat suit.
yeah, and he took all our details down, checked again, we had our Thai pass and all that, and then we were taken up to our room and told that we arrived at 1 p.m. or something. We were told that at 2 o'clock we would be getting a knock on the door and we would be having our PCR test for arriving. So in that time we just kind of chilled, unpacked a bit.
Unpacked a little bit. I was dying to sleep, but held on.
And we had food waiting for us when we arrived as well.
Yeah, we paid for 3 meals, so we had lunch there ready for us when we arrived. Got our PCR test done.
Yeah.
Which was strange, but it wasn't too bad.
Very quick. A shove up the mouth, shove up the nose.
Yeah, it was really strange.
And that was that. And she told us that we would be receiving our results at 8 o'clock in the morning. She'd be calling us. So after that we just relaxed. And you can't leave your hotel obviously, so...
We can't leave the room.
Yeah.
So yeah, I slept. I slept after the PCR test all the way until 9 p.m. I think we had dinner waiting for us for a few hours.
Yeah, we didn't even eat lunch. I had a couple of hours sleep and then I did work until you woke up.
Yeah.
And
yeah, then we just chilled. Did some work, chilled, then went back to sleep until the next morning.
And in the morning we were given breakfast, which was interesting. It was cold.
Yeah, it's not nice.
It wasn't the best. It was cold eggs, cold sausage.
And the sausage was weird.
With some bread.
And croissant. Croissant was nice.
Croissant was very nice.
And orange juice. You liked orange juice?
Oh, I did like the orange juice. That was lovely.
But yeah, the quarantine food's not
the best.
Yeah, not the nicest. I mean, imagine we test positive and we had to eat that for 10 days.
Yeah, I feel for those people.
Yeah, sorry guys.
But yeah, it was fine for the one day.
And we got the phone call.
Hello. Both of us, yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, bye.
Uh-huh.
Negative!
Yes!
Oh,
We can go!
oh! That was very exciting.
I made Nessie answer it. I was too nervous.
But it was a very quick, swift call.
I like how you said both of us to the lady. I was like,
Well, she just said, you're negative. You can check out now.
yeah,
That was it.
Please go.
Yeah, but that was
yeah,
us.
so that was at 8 o'clock in the morning. Check out, you didn't have to check out until 12. We tried to leave
To go for a walk.
to come back, then get our luggage to go to our next hotel. But, I mean, obviously it's a quarantine hotel, you're not allowed to leave. So once you leave, you have to check out and leave. You can't leave and come back because obviously you can get COVID and bring it back to the hotel. So we just went back to our room, chilled and packed a little bit, and then waited until 12 because our check-in for our next hotel wasn't technically till 2.
Yeah. And then we arrived at this hotel and it was lovely.
Park Plaza in Sukhumvit it's lovely, really nice. I think this is sort of the corporate area of Bangkok, but we wanted to lie low until our day 5 to 7 PCR test.
Something that changed after we booked is that originally you just did the antigen test, but they have now added in that you have to do a second PCR test 5 to 7 days after you have arrived, which we recommend booking in advance because we kind of failed there.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it by day 7, you have to then pay for it, which will cost you 2,500 Thai baht, which is
£55, I believe. So yeah, try and book in advance. It is hard because there's not really much information about the second PCR test. We went to like 3 hospitals. Every hospital we went to, they sent us to another one. I ended up calling the third one and tried to speak to them to ask, but they didn't speak English, which I expected, but I did get to them.
This is the one we're trying. See how it goes. So that didn't go well. We've been sent to a different hospital 2 kilometers away. But luckily it's on the SkyTrain route. So we just need to go back on the SkyTrain and find the next hospital. They probably won't take us either.
Yeah, and it's boiling.
It's really hot. So we've just seen a sign for the hospital we've just been to, and it says 30 tests per day for Test&Go. So that's why we haven't got a space, as it is 1:15, so there's definitely not any spaces left for us. So on we go. This is our next hospital to try. And that 2K felt a lot longer. Hello? Hello, do you speak English?
No, I speak Thai.
I'm looking for a PCR test. Pink slip. Walk.
Walk in.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Walk in the hospital.
Repeat, please.
Hello.
Hello, we're looking for a PCR test day 5 to 7.
Walk in, come walk in.
Can we walk in today?
Yes, walk in today.
Yes?
3 โมงเย็น
Okay, thank you. So we've been sent to a third hospital. Yeah, we don't know how this is going to go, but basically we've only got till tomorrow left to get it for free. To get it for free, yeah. This is our third hospital, and then we're going to try a new plan. But yeah, that second one did not work out at all. So here we go. So we've put our pink slips into that little box there. No idea what happens next. Yeah. So I think we go over to that man. It's going to be fun.
But anyway, the third hospital was a success, and we really didn't want to test positive at all. So that was our final test, and then we're free to roam. So we did that on day 6, which was yesterday. We're still waiting for the result.
so who knows when that will come through.
Yeah, but we were lying low, and we did a lateral flow and we're negative, so I think we're okay. At the end of December, the Test&Go system was actually suspended, and it currently is still suspended for the foreseeable future. There are other ways to get in though. You'd have to probably do 7-day or 10-day quarantine. I think there's a sandbox program in Phuket at the moment, and I think they're trying to introduce sandbox to other areas where you fly into Phuket, for example. You check into a hotel for 7 days and you stay within that district, so you are allowed out. You don't have to just stay in your hotel. Obviously you have to stay in your hotel if you test positive, but if you test negative, you just stay in that district for the 7 days, and then you're free to roam after that. if you get another negative test. So if you've made it through this video, thank you for watching.
We hope it helps if you're planning on coming to Thailand anytime soon, but again, everything could change, so it might be completely useless by then.
So thank you for watching. Subscribe to our channel if you want to follow our journey, Travelling Thailand.
Especially in these COVID times. And we will update you, hopefully, if we're negative on our second PCR test. But yeah, thanks for watching.
Thank you.